Hello, Simon. Could you please introduce yourself?
Hello, Rokas. Yeah, hey, my name is Simon. I'm pretty much from Slovenia, and I've just recently hit my 10K month, and that's why we're on this interview.
Mhm. So, 10K month in Slovenia is quite substantial, but we'll get into that in a bit. First, I want to know, how did you find out about the real world and what led to you joining?
Yeah, so I've joined the real world, but interesting enough, like I think it was about two years ago, which is insane, right? I want to speak on this interview more about like slow progress. Like not everyone gets insane results in a few months, right? But how I heard about it was about I think Andrew Tate was talking about it on the internet, right? Most people heard it like that, but when I first heard about it, interesting enough, he was talking about copywriting, right? And I was clueless, right? I was 18 years old at that point, and I didn't immediately join because I was like copywriting, right? Like you mean copyright strike on YouTube? I didn't really know what the hell was going on, right? So that was kind of a preview of where I was at. But like after some time, like I just keep on seeing and seeing, oh, it's $50. Let's just try it out, right? So I was pretty much clueless. Was in school, right? Was studying something completely different. And I was introduced into the marketing world, right? And slowly, gradually, kind of started learning, expanding, and I saw, okay, maybe there's more to life than just a normal job, and that's where it started.
And since you mentioned school, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
Okay, I'm currently 21.
21. Look a bit older with the beard.
Yeah,
Cool.
I get it a lot. So yeah,
Yeah. All right. That's actually a big bit to have at 21, but side tangent. All right. Cool.
yeah. You mean having a beard at 21, or?
No, like that big of a bid at 21. I say is
Yeah, I mean, I've
pretty
been
cool.
growing a beard since 16, 17. So yeah,
Okay.
that's one thing. Genetics,
That's-
but yeah,
all right.
sure.
So I'll continue. All right. So you heard about copywriting. Is that the campus you actually got into then, as soon as you joined,
You know
or did you
what? I
try
actually
campus?
started with interesting enough trading, right? And but the thing with trading is like down the road, I was experimenting things. I didn't really know what. I never made a single buck on the internet, right? So I was kind of looking out, exploring, and I tried out with trading, day trading, crypto, etc., right? Forex, and stuck for it like for half a year, and I saw potential, lost a few some money, but I saw potential in it, right? But I was like, okay, I can make money if I stick to this. But what if it doesn't work out? Like I'm still a nerd, right? You don't really get any real life experience. So I was like, okay, what about marketing? And the thing about marketing is sales. Even if you don't make money, or like you learn and you can progress, right? You can kind of, let's say, I didn't make my first money like 2 years in, right? But I still improved, and my real life skills, social skills, and how I speak and present myself also improved, right? The quality of life. Whilst with trading, like there's no actual skill you learn that can translate into real life. So that's why I switched, and I stuck, mainly with the copywriting campus, but also Arno Business Campus is also legit, right? Those two, and yeah,
Okay. And then back at the start, you mentioned it's a you have been on quite a journey. So between 2 to 3 years, I'd like to know as much as you remember. Let's say in chronological order. What was it like actually going through the process of learning copywriting? How did you end up improving? Why do you think it took you a while to actually get a client? And then, yeah, anything that comes to mind there.
yeah. That's an interesting one, right? So I will kind of tell my story, but I want to maybe speak to the person who's listening to this, right? Obviously, not many people actually care about my story. They just want to maybe care about my results and take inspiration how they can replicate it, right? So I want to speak to the person, to the young, maybe lazy, ambitious person, right? Who has, no supporters, haters, doubters, nobody trusts, like believes in them. They're not gonna be anything because at the end of the day, that was me, right? Not everyone will have supporters. That's what I'm trying to say. But the big thing I want to say is you can still make it, and you don't actually need that stuff, right? I've been doing this for over 3 years, right? When I started off, I didn't know what online marketing was, nothing like that. My family, they were mad at me for getting bad grades, etc., etc. Right now, it doesn't really matter, but I just want to say, That's actually a good thing. Let's say, what if I had good grades, like, and I had a comfortable 2K a month job? What happens then, right? It would be so much easier to stay in that position. Where do you get motivation from, right? So I think if you have doubters, have haters, that's a good thing, right? Channel that energy and kind of be uncomfortable, and that kind of pushes you and to take action. Make sense? And that kind of what I kind of excelled me. But I want to say, I mean, the first time I heard about Eurocus was, I think, I saw Alex DeMarshall, and his results in copywriting campus was, okay, this is possible, right? He was 15 years old. I have no excuse. And like in 2 months, he made, I don't know, couple 10,000, 40K. I don't know. It was crazy. But I wasn't like that, right? So what about the people who aren't like that? What if you don't make 40K in 2 months? I just want to say that, contrary to popular belief, I would encourage people to make small goals, make smaller goals, make more realistic goals. Isn't that like opposite of the advice? Sure, but in this space now that I kind of scale up, I try to hire people, hire copywriters, salespeople, and everyone has this 10K a month goal in mind. Oh, what's your experience? Oh, I never had a client. Okay, so what's your expectations of earning potential? Oh, 10K a month. Like, it doesn't really work like that. I would say start off with $500 a month, and once you figure out how to make $500 a month, guess what? You can scale it up. But I would say make reasonable goals. Um, and if you make too big of a goals, for me at least, it makes me procrastinate, and that's why it took me so long. To kind of circle back, yeah, when I started off, I was just kind of looking around, learning from a couple of campuses, and yeah, taking action, actually outreaching. I think I was outreaching for a good half a year or 1 year, cold outreach, email outreach, right? And that's kind of, I didn't get my first client until I discovered warm outreach, which was, Andrew kind of mentioned it in the copywriting campus. I looked around, and one of my friends had a friend who did business, and I did copywriting with him, got like $500 a month, and that's where it started, right? Um, yeah,
Did you
that's kind of
leverage that testimonial then, or what did you do with that?
how. That's a good question. I did a testimonial, but I didn't really use it to get another client. I don't know, right? Because I was another opportunity came up in the actual real world, which is another benefit of the real world, right? You don't just get the knowledge, you get connections, right? So I got connections, and I got a few job opportunities, but nothing really stuck, right? I mean, if you don't have much experience, you might get opportunities, but not really solid ones, right? I mean, and that's kind of how I did. And the point of where I kind of blew up was a transition more from copywriting to high ticket closing. Do you know what it is?
Mhm.
High ticket
No,
closing,
feel free
more, yeah, more of sales. I still utilize a lot of copywriting, but I think knowing one skill like copywriting is good. But if you can combine it with another skill, that's where you kind of separate yourself apart, right? So what I do is I run Facebook ads and I close high ticket deals, and that's kind of a combination. And there's two separate skill sets that you combine, right? And I work with an agency, stuck with it. And I think a biggest thing, once you have all the knowledge, the last thing is to niche down, right? Not just be general, oh, I'm a marketeer. I can give you some sauce. I right now am in a tutoring niche, which is unconventional, tutoring for in America for SATs. That's my current niche. Sure, but that kind of sets you apart. Like people say, oh, what I like you because you do specifically for tutoring. My offer is the same as everyone else. It's just that I say, oh, I'm for tutoring, right? And that's why people trust you more. And you stick with it. Got a couple mid clients, and then stayed consistent, and then bam, got a client. And with this client, he's very legit. He's credible. Again, for this client, I did utilize the testimonials I got over the time and got 10K. Um, but the thing is, there's a lot more potential, right? Like I said, I don't know, I'm still quite lazy. I don't think I know too much, but I don't think you need to know a lot. I don't think you need to be, exceptional to make it. You just have to be above average and consistent, I would say. you know. Yeah.
A bit more clarity on, you said you're doing high ticket closing now, so do you actually get on a call with the leads you get from the ads, or how does it work?
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. I'm a closer, right? So, but I don't just do the actual closing. I want to be in control of the whole funnel, right? So I actually write the scripts for ads, copywriting, run the actual ads, do the whole funnel as in website and form. And when people book in the call, I actually take the call and close them, and I take commission for that. So how I make money is commission from closed deals and actual okay, I'd also get paid for writing funnels, scripts, etc.
Okay, so very solid and a service that many businesses would need. But you chose to niche down, which is, as you said, probably the most advantageous way to
You
do it.
know, yeah, because it niches down your competition. Like if you're, let's say you're a general, oh, I'm a high ticket closer for online businesses. Sure, then that might be cool, but now you're competing against so many other companies, right? Why not just say, okay, you have the skill set, but you present yourself differently, right? So you say, okay, I'm a high ticket closer, but not for online businesses. I'm a high ticket closer for tutoring online businesses. And why not give and go one step further? I'm a high ticket closer for tutoring businesses in America who teach SATs. And now you're all of a sudden in this small market, and your competition is so much smaller, right? And then you just have a no-brainer offer, and sure, you might have one, two good other competitors, but now it's much easier to stand out, and you can stand out. I don't know. I wouldn't recommend standing out on price, going lower in your price. I would just make a crazy offer. I don't, maybe we wouldn't want to give all our offer up because it is incredible, but just make an unresistible offer. Maybe at the beginning, like if you don't have an experience and you start just starting out, set your ego apart right at the beginning, maybe work for free, or say work only commission, right? I make you this result. If I don't get the result, you don't pay me, right? You have to take the risk on and kind of build up a credibility, and once you kind of have the credibility, you can leverage it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and very fair. So for sales, did you go to business mastery for that? Did you implement anything from that course, or did you do something else?
Yeah, so the how I did it was yeah, business mastery. Arnold was amazing, sales, but even copywriting, sales. At the end of the day, copywriting, it's all about mindset, right? You have to understand the tactics, how to persuade a person, right? And while copywriting you might persuade people with your words, like written down words, sales is the same, just that you speak the words and maybe have your energy. Like uh, a lot from that I learned from copywriting translates into sales, right? The whole mentality, underlying knowledge, everything translates into sales, and that's really I would have to dedicate that to copywriting campus, right? But like you said, Arno is in the business mastery, also an amazing campus. He has something more specifically for sales, and that also helped. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Then, how different is your average day now compared to, let's say, before you joined the real world? Like, what has actually changed in your life?
You know what? I mean, just to give you a perspective, this 10K month was out of nowhere, right? I stay consistent, and it's like a golden nugget you explode. Like in December, I was November, December, I made like 2K a month, right? And that was my goal. If I make 2K a month every month of the year, I'm happy, right? But then opportunity came. We struggled. I always look out for opportunities, always, right? And I made 10K in January. How life changed? Not really, right? I mean, it's the same. I keep on working as the. You would think like, oh, 10K hits the bank, and now you're whoa, crazy, right? I mean, it is a good feeling, but it's all the same, I would say, right? I mean, it's a great feeling, right? I think the biggest feeling, circle back on the haters, is that you prove the haters wrong, right? I mean, everyone from in my life never believed in me. They still don't believe in me, but you can't deny the results, right? And that's the best feeling. I think that's the best motivator and the best dopamine hit when you actually say, "Oh, you said I'm not gonna be anything. Oh, fuck you then. I made 10K in a month," which is, by the way, to put it in perspective, in Slovenia the average salary is 1.5K. So It's kind of crazy. Um, like even in America, 10K is good, but like it's not that crazy in Slovenia. I mean, it's kind of
Yeah.
crazy, right? I always said, hey, I'm gonna make 5K, I'm even 5K a month, and that's kind of taboo. Wow, that's impossible, right? That just to get put into perspective. So how my life changed? I could like lifestyle inflation is a thing. Like I could start purchasing, splurging. I just put everything into crypto. For now, I'm just investing because in the past I had 25K. I didn't even mention because it's not a big talking point. But when I joined the real world, like I made 25K in the first half a year. But it was kind of not scalable, right? I sold vapes physical, right? It's whatever, and it exploded, but wasn't scalable. But I had that amount of money, but I just wasted it. I didn't purchase everything, right? So I would just say have a goal, and my current goal is buy a fancy car, which I don't know should be happening in a couple of next months, because once you start making 10K a month, things drastically change and you start thinking differently. But day to day life, pretty much the same.
Um, what about what you're actually doing in day to day though, compared to before you joined the real world? Surely there is a difference there.
I mean, a huge difference. Exactly
Yeah.
right. Before I joined the real world, I was even in school, so my day to day then was like back then I was going out to parties, drinking, doing drugs, was hanging out with the wrong people, right? And I think the kind of underlying benefit of the real world and kind of listening to Tate in general is the mindset shift, right? Okay, cool. It's good to know the actual contents, like how to do copywriting, cool. But how to actually change your mindset, be more ambitious, and change your life in general, right? I started going to the gym. That's one thing. I wouldn't say drinking is bad in general, but I stopped drinking. Stopped partying because I kind of zoned in, tunnel vision, and that's pretty much it, right? I wouldn't say I'm above average. I'm not anything crazy. I just did the right things and stayed consistent, right? So I even family didn't believe in me, so I didn't listen to them. Friends, like my previous friends, didn't have the same ambitions, right? So I started slowly, gradually hanging out with them less, right? Because you are the average of 5 people you hang out with. I'm sure everyone heard that, right? But they never take action on that. And once I kind of kept hearing that, I was like, yeah, that's true. And everyone was talking about gambling, partying, short-term gratification. Nobody was thinking of big goals, right? So if you do have an ambition, I would just say you have to cut. I wouldn't say cut a friend out completely. Social circle is still important, but that's what I did, right? So the underlying benefit of the real world is also fixing up your life, right? I was more consistent, on schedule. It happened gradually, like it didn't happen from today to tomorrow, but back then was a whole different life than right now.
Mhm. Okay. And let's look into future trajectory then. What plans do you have for short term, medium term, long term? Just plans and goals. What do you see? Where do you see yourself? What do you see yourself doing? And everything along those lines.
I mean, when it comes to long-term goals, I don't really think very long-term because what I thought half a year ago is possible versus what's possible right now. It's totally different, right? So what I might think in a half a year is totally be totally different, right? What I would recommend if someone is still watching this, right, that contrary to popular belief, right, set more realistic goals. Right? I think that Tristan Tate said something like this, right? Like, sure, if you're making a $500 a month from online right now, you might have a longer term 10K, but set a more realistic 1K a month, then 2K a month, and that practically that gets you a practical path, right? So like if you want to go from $500 to 10K a month, what do you have to do in between? Set smaller goals and it builds up to a longer term goal, right? So for myself, yeah, obviously the goal is make 20K now, right? And I think that would be very achievable, and maybe not in February because February is, I don't know if you know the niche, it's a bit slower for tutoring, but March we're aiming for 15, 20K. And yeah, maybe buy a fancy car just to flex on the haters, but apart from that. Maybe buy a house. Anything can happen by the end of the year, right? But definitely a goal would be kind of financially to hit 100K by the end of the year. So $100,000 in a year, and that would kind of be a practical goal. But obviously, a smaller short-term goal is let's do it week by week, month by month, and to hit 100K in the year, you want to hit 10K in the month every month, which should be easy by now. But still, you have to get the results.
Cool. Yeah, very solid. As you said, being realistic is a different mindset, but for everyone operates differently. So for some people, that will definitely resonate, and
Yeah,
I'm sure that.
and I speak like again, like you said it yourself best, right? It's different people resonate with different stuff, right? And like Andrew Tate, all of these gurus, they might be good for a certain type of demographic. And by the way, it was good for me as well, right? But I think a lot of people see these results. Oh, this person got 40K in 2 months. They don't get the same results and they say, just give up. Oh, it's not for me, right? No, I mean, if you're better day in, day out, if you keep improving, set small goals, achieve them. Look, someone might do it in 1 month. You might do it in after 1 year. Someone else might do it in 2 years. The point is, you still got there in the end, right? Let's say if you got a normal job. I mean, where would I be right now if I got a normal job 3 years ago, right? I would still be making 1.5K a month, maybe slightly more. But in business, if you actually dedicate yourself, results can be exponential, right? It's a exponential curve. It's not linear. That's one thing I want to mention. And just keep focusing. And yeah, Tate and stuff like that, they give you good. But I would just say for most people, if that doesn't work for you, if you don't make the quick results, just keep on improving. Stay consistent, and again, it's gonna be ups and downs. Like for example, I made 2K, and then for 6 months I made $0. It's gonna be ups and downs, but if you can stay consistent, keep on doing the actual right things, you will get in the end, right? Don't really compare yourselves to others. Just compare yourself to yourself and keep on improving, and you'll get there in the end.
Cool. I think we can wrap up with a final question then. So for people who are unsure about joining the real world because they're thinking they might get scammed for $50, what advice would you have to them?
That's an interesting point. When I made my first 10K a month, I actually bought the real world just for one friend. This was one friend who thought about joining the real world like 1 year ago, right? When I was already in the real world, was hustling. He said, "Oh, what's your experience?" I said, "Amazing. I mean, join it, right? It's $50, nothing too crazy. Just join and see for yourself. Like worst case scenario, you lose $50, right?" And he asked me, I posted on a story one little win and said, "Oh, cheers to you, right? How is the real world going?" And I said, "Join, right? It's been 1 year, you still haven't joined." And I just at some point said, "Hey, I'm gonna purchase it for you. Just try it out, right?" I mean, what would I say to a person who's contemplating? You have nothing to lose, right? If there's unlimited upside, even if you don't make money or you learn, like you cannot lose anything, right? Well, and what's the downside? You lose $50. Like, let's be serious. If you want to be successful, actually make something, you're gonna have to probably lose a lot more than $50. So, $50 in investment for your knowledge, I think it's a no-brainer.
Mhm. All right. And now for people who want to find out more about you or contact you, where could they do so?
Yeah. So I mean, I don't really have a social platform or a personal brand building up as of yet. If someone wants to find me like in the actual real world, would be cool. Other than that, just Instagram. I have an Instagram, Simon Mauri 9. It's my ad. I'm sure you link it in the bio or whatever. But I think that if someone needs the help, reach out. That they can do it over Instagram. I'm always happy to help, share my knowledge, and yeah,
Mhm. Very cool. So yeah, as you said, it'll be in the description of the video. So anyone interested, check that out. Yeah, Simon, 21 years old, earning 10K a month in Slovenia,
it's crazy,
where
man.
there's an average wage. I mean, you're looking at an average wage, like minimum wage is even worse. Like a lot of people earning minimum wage was probably what,
Minimum wage, I think it's
500?
900 a month or 1,000, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So insane. You're basically 10xing that at 21 years old.
I
So
don't want to
doing
really feel my ego, right? But yeah, I mean, it's crazy, right? And
and there's so much more upside, as you said. This can scale so much
it's
further.
only the
That's
beginning.
the whole point of it. Yeah. So all those years that you put in now, those 2 years of stubbornness, of not giving up, is now actually showing fruit, and you'll surpass so many other people because of that. And
Yeah.
yeah, it
And I
was
want to say,
great speaking to you.
like one final thought, like you said, even you have a job, right? You're making solid 1.5 normal wage, whatever. If you join the real world, like still, you don't have to put in 8 hours a day. You can just do 1 hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, and get gradually better. And like you said, even if you make $500 on site, cool. But you actually learn, right? So at some point, even if I had a normal job right now and stay consistent with the real world, at some point I would have the skill set to actually, replace my job. So if someone is ambitious, I really don't see a, I don't know, a reason why they wouldn't try it out.
Exactly. And yeah, we'll wrap up there. So Simon, good speaking to you, and I
Likewise.
wish you all the best.
Thank you for having me on here and hopefully speak to you soon.